Leave a lazy butterfly hook, okay? He's pushing on my knee. That's where I got the idea that there's an arm drag. His arm is separated away from his body. I grab right at the tricep, I grab his wrist. I push it to his butt. My hook is engaged. Sometimes I can do this without putting my foot on the ground, but sometimes I have to hip out and use this foot. And I make the connection with my foot and I stay close to him. So my hook sticks to him the whole time, right?
I never really lost this shin connection to my body. Like people are flipping people and I'm seeing people go fly and then you're trying to follow.
You guys are like this, and then you're like, ugh,
where do I land?
Yeah. So when you land in this position, it's important that I use my chest to drive him over. Doesn't do me any good to do this position and come up like this. Levi's just gonna flatten his back to the ground. Right? That's a totally different game. The fight is here. He doesn't want me to take his back and I want to take his back. Alright, squish. Make my grip. Fall. And I can block his hand, keep it to his belly button, grabbing his wrist. I can use my chin to cover my wrist and choke. Sit up and get my short choke. All it locks up. So one more time. It's very important to keep your connection. My inside foot. This is a foot. I'm going to stay connected to him. My chest never detach from his shoulder. Let's talk about bringing your knee up in chair sit. It's gonna be very hard for me to take Levi's back with my knee way down here, right? Slide my knee up as close to his back as possible. Come through. Choke. Any questions? Clean that little detail, hands up, reset. Yes. Keep going, white belt.
Public service announcement. This is a heel hook, not an ankle lock.
Heel hook, not an ankle lock. Okay. So the grips are still the same, right? I keep my hooks engaged because remember the whole time they're doing this, they're gonna try to get that knee here, right? Like that's the fight, is him trying to push his knee in the center line. One thing that I want to emphasize is I really shove his hand, right? Like he's trying to wipe his own butt. Like way back here. Like this does it, but he doesn't get his arm trapped like he does, and he'll posture up. And this game still works. But the farther that I extend his hand when I go to do the sweep, the more see his hand is right here, the more when I come over, it's in a trap position. Does that make sense? So now we do this, I kick him over my shoulder. Whoop, I stay connected to him. If I want to leg lock him, I take him back this way. And even if he like turns his hips, so if we go this way, and he decides I don't want to do this game, I want to turn, I land right to the leg lock. Hitting both my knees to the ground. You can triangle, you keep it loose, you can spread it. I like to triangle and pinch my knees together. Controlling his legs so he can't get away. Let's talk about that for a second. If I just fall off and grab a hold of his foot, if I cross feet any way you want, yeah. Me and Brendan were talking about this the other day. I used to be really big into like trying to cut the knee, like digging in here, finding the edge of his ankle and pop. But it's very difficult, and if they do those, Jane Fonda's a lot, it's very difficult to separate the knee, right? So what me and Brendan were talking about is grabbing a hold. As soon as I land in this position, I hold the inside of his leg here, defeating the retraction. I post on my head, and then I go towards his toes. I lift his toes. Yep, cross the other way. Yep. If I want to straight ankle lock him, I go towards his toes. I bring his toes in, and I can make the ankle grab. If he locks up the other way, right, which typically he wouldn't, I would still go for his toes to break the lock open. Then I connect. And I'm trying to hold on to his leg as long as I possibly can before I need to connect my hands. Okay? So if I want a straight ankle lock, lock your feet up. Yeah. If I want a straight ankle lock, I might use my wet as toes to bring them in, make my grip, and then, right? If I don't like this and I want to get to his heel where his heel's already there, right? I go, yep. Peel his toes. All right. Another aspect that I want to talk about this real quick is I slide up the mat on my forehead and I hip in. Forehead, not top of my head. All right, my forehead. Oop, you should see a nice little sweat do hickey when you get done with this move. So again, we're here. He's spaced out. I stuff his arm. Gets tuned. He doesn't like it right here. He's like, no, you push off the mat. That's fine. Back step with the leg lock. Take my hand out and I grab his knee right away. I don't want him to be able to retract, especially like Levi, where he gets his legs out, his bottom leg out, and it's all bad. Right, like whoo. Yep, and start turning in on me. So I want to stop all that by grabbing his leg. Okay, and I can look up, kind of look at my armpit and see where he's got his feet tied. Thumb up at his toes. Make the heel grip, let go. Make my hands, I slide down, and it's the motion of hipping into his knee and keeping it in my armpit that gets the break. One more time. Do it slow. Feel it out. And you can speed up. I lift a lot too, guys. I can't emphasize how important it is to like any position in jiu-jitsu to like keep the boat moving and rocking. Alright. Higher too, I catch myself doing that and getting caught, like high kicking to get to it. His hand's trapped, right? It doesn't happen often, but it does happen sometimes. Grab my grip, keeping his knee from retracting, and I just need to find out how his feet are crossed, and then I go from there. I go at the toes, and I peel up. Make my grip, and I can get a straight ankle. Go at his toes, I can find his heel. Does that make sense? Any questions? Black belts up to you something different. So, I'm going to control everything's the same. I want to reiterate that I can't have a lazy hook, right, guys? Like this position, I got into this because I elevate and I'm trying to bring my hook inside and play this game with Brandon. He just keeps fitting, and it was a lot of me getting crushed to figure this position out. So to save you guys all the heartache that I went through, keeping your knee across his body and always rocking the boat, right? Always trying to keep him off his base, whether it's with hooks or like lifting him or framing, right? To be able to get space to get your legs in, to go over what we did the last couple days. It doesn't happen if I'm just lazy, okay? That's the one thing that'll save you a lot of time. Now, next detail, pushing his hand as deep as it'll go and bring his shoulder to my chest. Like bring his shoulder onto like where my heart's at. Keeping his hand, like almost straightening his arm, okay? Then I just elevate, I can go over my shoulder and I stay with him. When I hit here, if I've done this to Levi a couple times, he's gonna step his right foot on the floor and he's gonna turn to half guard. When he does that, I kick high, I back step, okay? As soon as I get to here, I wanna grab his bottom leg, because that's a leg he's gonna retract. If I go right off the heel hook and I even give a little bit of space and we're here like this, even if we start turning, I'm gonna lose the position eventually, right? I just went from being in a great position, went from being in a super great position to losing it because I didn't control his knee. So I come up, I let go, my left hand grabs behind his knee and I'm pulling it to me. And I'll post on my head. We talked about this. I used to really drive with my knee. Drive and separate his legs with my elbow. And although I can do that on smaller people, when you start getting into the bigger guys, it's very difficult to separate the knee. It's even more difficult to go down here and slide your knee through. So Brandon's like, hey, why don't you just go after the toes, right? It's like kryptonite jiu-jitsu. Somebody grabs your hands, somebody grabs your toes, right? So I use my elbow and I just go after the toes. So I'm gonna straight ankle lock, so cross your feet. I go after the toes, connect my hands high, like on his Achilles, connect my hands, and I bridge into the straight ankle lock. So when I'm here like this, I look at it, I see it, it's crossed. I go and grab at the toes. This is the heel hook, not straight ankle lock. I use where my wristwatch is at. I know everybody wears watches now, with Apple watches. Goes right here, right on my wristwatch. Connect my hands, I slide on my forehead. Not the top of my head, I'm using the top of my head to talk to you guys. I slide on my forehead, and I slide down and drop my hips into the mat. You can see this nice little slime mark where you slid. Do not slide on the top of your head. I go here like this. So, straight ankle lock. I go towards his toes, opens his feet, worm my hand inside, connect, I slide down, So get a tap with the straight ankle lock. Partner switches his feet. You look at it, go, oh, there's his heel hook. Go at the toes, connect it where the wristwatch is at. You guys can all see his heel is right where my wristwatch would be, right? Connect my hands, slide down, hip into the knee. All right. It's very important too, when you go to do this move, the person has to, you're getting a lot of pressure on the back. There's no way you're just gonna free float your legs to turn and play half guard. They have to step and turn, and because their leg is planted, that's why the back step works. Okay, so give them pressure, make them stomp that foot to the ground. So we go here. If I'm like this, there's no way he's gonna free float his legs. You see what I'm talking about? He has to put his foot on the ground. You can hear it, you can feel it. The direction change, and the force change. Grab onto his knee, find which foot's which, go at the toes, connect. He switches his feet the other way. Wristwatch, connect, get the tap. This happens super, super slow. There's no reason why you guys should be doing this super fast. It's very controlled. Very, very controlled.
Yeah, I don't feel like I can get out.
Yeah. Does that make sense? One more time. Questions? Like across this hip line, if that makes sense. Again, generally. So, I kick him over and I'm gonna come up and follow him this way. And I thought I was gonna pretzel bolo. I was like, oh, it's here, but it's not. Because if you guys see his feet, this is what they do. Okay? It's not like his legs straighten this leg. This would be different. I would go, in a perfect world. It's probably not gonna happen right on the upper belt. But it does allow me to go. Because of the position in which they lay their, because of the position in which you land with their feet, we're all going to be like, whoop, no matter where we line that, especially if there's a leg in there, right? So, this involves me coming up this way. So I abandon the arm drag grip. His arm should be in between my legs. It shouldn't be over here anyways, but if it does, then we can just attack the arm. Okay? So, arm comes out, connect my feet, reach, grab his toes. Arm, hey, we all know this, all the scanners. So more for me, it's about chasing the back. Okay? Great, Jackson. So leave that outside. Okay, like this, he's so happy. Okay? Again, it's more about me going, I don't want to chase the back that way. I'm coming up. Because again, I thought I was going to go pretzel and really impress Brandon, but it didn't work. Right, again, all of us know this game. Right? Play that with there. Once you get in that position, where we know what game you're going to play. That's the upper belt. Does that make sense? Hands up, accept.